All right, so last lecture of the day, GitHub, and using Git with Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine, like any game engine, is going to have really big binary files, right? Binary files are going to be a bunch of zeros and ones rather than a bunch of text, a bunch of code. Those binary files that I'm referring to aren't your C++ files. They're the big assets. The mesh that you import is going to be probably stored as a binary. The U assets, which Unreal Engine makes everything into. So when you import a mesh, it becomes a U asset. Materials are a U asset. They're big binary files that are encoded just for Unreal. And the problem is that when you change one node in a blueprint, the whole binary changes, right? It's all the zeros and ones shift. It's not something that Git can diff, right? If you've ever used Git before, it can look at text and it can be like, oh, you changed this line, but all the other lines didn't change. And it makes it very efficient for Git to store the differences between one version of text and another version of text as deltas, as like a description of the net change that has taken place, which is usually just like a couple lines shifting. But in a binary file, it's not like a couple of zeros and ones appear somewhere. Instead, everything gets like recalculated and re-encoded into a binary when something changes. If you change one pixel in an image, the entire like zeros and ones of the image change pretty substantially. So, um, as a result of that, and by the way, my statement about images just now would not be true if there wasn't additional encoding going on, but there almost always is. So, um, as a result of that, game engines have unique solutions for version control. They don't usually use Git. The industry standard solution is an application called Perforce. Um, Perforce is, any self-respecting game engine studio uses Perforce. I mean, it is ubiquitous. It is truly like it's used at Unity, Unreal Engine, whatever. It is the source control or version control solution. Yeah, to clarify, when I'm saying source control is like usually referring to source code. Version control refers to like your entire project. Source control, art, assets, binaries, whatever. Anyways, version control. So what we need version control for Unreal Engine. However, we aren't a giant self-respecting game studio. We're like 3 to 5, maybe like 6 or 7 nerds getting together for 48 hours to make a game jam. At least that's what this presentation is geared towards. And that means that we can afford to have a more inefficient solution that has to store the deltas of giant binary files. Like maybe we'll update an image and the new image version is going to be stored as like an entire giant delta file. Um, so that's what we're gonna do. We're not going to worry about Perforce. We're not going to worry about other solutions like using SVN subversion or SCM plastic SCM. These are a couple of different source control solutions. We're just going to use Git and we're going to use it on GitHub. We're not even going to use large file storage. Large file storage is a way for Git to treat files that you appropriately mark as requiring LFS, large file storage. It's a way to treat them differently and store them as like file versions rather than deltas, I think, something like that. And it also enables a couple of additional features like file locking. However, uh, that stuff it's a bit much. We're not going to even worry about that. File locking it's really cool. What file locking is it lets you push a commit to Git that says, "Hey, I'm working on this file right now. I have it checked out. Nobody else touch it." And then if anyone else is on Unreal Engine and they pull your commit that has the file locks, they will see little X's on the files, and Unreal Engine will be like, "Hey, someone else is working on this right now. Don't touch it." But that you don't need that. You don't need that. There's better ways to handle all of these concerns. And Unreal Engine 5 has made it a little bit easier to work with Git. The reason is that in the past, when you were working on a big level, a big map in Unreal Engine, the map was stored as a binary of all the assets inside of it. But now, levels are stored as giant file structures with folders, and folders contain like individual assets and files that describe their position in the level. And this means that when I move around a lamp in the level and you move around a road in the level, these can be pushed separately, and there won't be a conflict between them. There will only be a conflict if we move around the same object in the level. So it reduces merge conflicts, and it also itemizes the giant level binary into a bunch of smaller files that can be pushed independently of each other and modified independently of each other. So the deltas are also significantly smaller. Anyways, without further ado, right? So we're going to talk about actually using Git, which I'm sure to some of you is probably new, and that's okay. It's a very important skill, and the sooner you learn it, the better. So Git is a protocol, right? GitHub is a hosting service. So, right, like there's different places where you can host things. You can host things on GitHub, on GitLab. There's a million different hosting services, but Git is just a protocol. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my GitHub. I love how it auto completes to new grad internship positions. And I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to call this Unreal Demo Project, whatever. Public repository, whatever. You know, during a game jam, you'll make it public. That means that it's very easy to work with. And give it a README file, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Git ignore. There's an Unreal Engine git ignore template. That's pretty great. Okay, create repository. Nice. Nice. So we have this repo. It's preloaded with this big template for git ignore. This is saying, hey, don't push these files. These files shouldn't be pushed. They're files that can be generated by the engine, and they tend to be really big. So that's why we don't want them to be like living on the hosting service and taking up space. Like when you build the game and I build the game, we don't want to like have a merge conflict there where I try to compare your version of the build game to my version of the build game, because it shouldn't matter. We should just rebuild the game whenever we need to. So, okay. Next thing is I'm going to clone this repository. So generally, Git, you can do it from a command line. Command line interfaces allow you to do everything that you need to, but they're a little bit confusing to use sometimes. So I prefer to use source tree. Use source tree. And I'm just going to open up a new tab in source tree and hit clone. And I'm going to clone a repository into Unreal Projects with Priority. Actually, I'm going to make a new folder in here. I'm going to call it Git Tutorial. Select folder. And the repo that I'm going to clone, oh, I forgot. Let me go in here. Where's my tutorial? Unreal Demo Project. There it is. Clone to my C Unreal Projects with Priority Git Tutorial. Okay, clone. Great. And so what that's done is it has copied down the Git repo and initialized it in that folder. So if we go to my C drive, Unreal Projects with Priority, Git Tutorial, here it is. There's the Git ignore file. Here's our invisible folder that has all the things that Git needs to function. Great. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize a new Unreal Engine project in that folder. So I'm going to launch Unreal Engine. I'm not clicking on any particular project. You just click launch. And it will open up this window on my other monitor, which I will drag over the second it finishes loading. And she's done. It's going to open up this window. And I'm going to click blank project and navigate to that directory. So C, Unreal Projects, Git Tutorial, select folder. And I'm going to call this my Unreal Project for Git. My Unreal Project Git, whatever. Sure. Create. And now Unreal Engine is initializing, and we can see over here in this folder that Unreal Engine has created a folder. Very cool. Very nice. we're probably gonna actually move this to the, yeah, we're gonna move this up a level in a second. Like all of this stuff should actually be up here, probably. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, let me close Unreal Engine to move that over there. There we go. And I'm gonna delete this. Okay, and then the library. Gonna open this project again. So I clicked launch. I didn't double click the project itself because we've changed the directory. So if I try to double click the project, it's gonna be like, oh, I can't find it. And instead, it opens up the launcher, and in the launcher, we can browse to Unreal Projects, Git tutorial. There it is. Double click the U project file, and there we go. It's opening up. And now in source tree, right, we see here that there's all these new files that need to be staged. So I'm going to do stage all. What that means is that these are now ready to be committed to the remote copy of the repository. So I'm going to do commit to create a commit. I need to write a message. I'm going to call this initial commit. So this is all the initial stuff. Commit. There we go. There's initial commit. I'm going to push this. So here's the repository. Here it is. And we haven't pushed anything yet, but it doesn't see that there's any new commits. Last commit was 5 minutes ago, just the initialization of the repository. I'm gonna do push. I'm gonna refresh this. And now it's all up there. Nice. Nice. It's all up there. Now it hasn't pushed some of the folders because the folders were empty, right? The content folder is empty. Derived data cache doesn't want to push that because it's in the git ignore. The only thing that it was pushing there is that it should be pushing is the stuff that's inside of content. Git ignore is telling it to ignore all sorts of other things. It's telling it to ignore saved. It's telling it to ignore plugins or all of these cache files. It's telling it you don't need to push that. You just need to push content. So here's the Unreal Engine environment, right? We've got this default map open. I'm going to do file, new level. I'm going to do a basic level. There we go. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to call this starter level. Save. Brilliant. There we go. We're in the starter level right now. Maybe I might make a new material called my floor material. And this is like a putting game or something. So I'll make the floor material be green. I'll make it be green. Like that. Maybe like that. A little bit desaturated, a little bit darker. Nice. And then maybe make it a little bit rough. That would make it shiny. There's rough. Cool. Save, apply, exit out, drop this on the ground. Yay, green material world. All right, I'm gonna hit Control-Shift-S. That's the same as doing save all, right? Save all, right there. And now back in source tree, we can see that there's 2 new files to be committed. However, we can also do this from inside of Unreal Engine. So in Unreal, down here on the bottom right, you can click on revision control, connect to revision control. I guess we're not calling it source control anymore. That's pretty funny. And if I just click a git, it automatically finds where git is installed. I'm just gonna hit accept. Now, these question marks here imply that these haven't been committed yet. So I'm gonna do submit content. And it makes me write the commit in here. So this is the same as writing the commit message down there. So I can say add green material and default level. Submit. Bam. And now that's a commit right there. And if I do push, did it auto push? I think it pushed automatically. Oh, no, it didn't. It totally didn't. Here, now I'm going to do push. I can tell that it hasn't because there was that little +1 over there. And if I refresh this, there we go. So there's my content folder. It just got pushed. with my floor material, starter level .umap, all of that. Very nice, very nice. So everything is working just as intended. Um, great. Okay. Now here's some information about best practices. The way that Git works is it revolves around branches. This blue line over here is kind of visualizing the main branch. However, when you're working with your partners, you kind of want to organize yourself into one branch per person. This prevents merge conflicts from happening every single time you make a small commit. Instead, merge conflicts should happen when a feature ends. So you have this like main branch, right? Here, I'll try to MS Paint this out for you. You've got this main branch. I'm gonna go like over time. We're moving to the right here. Main, right? And main might get a commit on it. You know, the initial commit that we just made. Maybe there's another initial commit, and then once your project is all set up, you and your partners are going to branch off. We're gonna, right here, Michael might create a new branch over here. You know, dev slash landscape, and Michael might work exclusively on the landscape, and then Trevor might be like, I'll make it a different color. Trevor might work on dev slash let's see.
Particles.
Particles is a good one. I want something that interacts with the landscape. Dev slash road spline. So he's working on making like a road system, and so he makes he branches from this over here, like this, and we just start working on our own things. He creates a new road material. He imports a road mesh. He creates the road spline. Meanwhile, Michael is over here and he's working on other stuff. He's like, oh, let me, create a landscape material, and let me actually like generate the landscape in the world and create some erosion effects. And at some point, I'm like, maybe I decide that I need to also work on the lighting. So instead of merging this, because maybe I'm not done with the landscape and the road spline kind of go together. So maybe I abandon it because I'm not a very good teammate, and I decide I'm going to work on something else. So off of my branch, I'm like, okay, I like the current state of my branch. Let me just keep working in the same environment that I've been working in, the environment that has all of these changes. But now I'm going to work on lighting. So I'm going to make another branch off of my branch. And this branch has a copy of the lighting stuff. So dev slash lighting. I decide I'm going to work on lighting. And I create, some sunlight, and I work on the shadows and stuff. But Trevor's like, ah, oh, shoot, man, I gotta get the landscape. I gotta get the spline interacting with the landscape. So he needs all of the landscape stuff. He's been working in an empty level, just creating all the logic for how roads will work, but he doesn't have a landscape to apply the roads to. So what he does is he merges the landscape branch in. He goes, let me merge landscape into my branch. And what this does is now his branch is going to continue, but he has, merge landscape into road spline, like the branches. Merge dev slash landscape into dev slash road spline, whatever. Let me make this font size a little bit smaller as well. Bang. And now he has a copy of all of the landscape stuff in his branch, and he can keep working on it. And he's like, okay, you know what? I got the roads to deform the landscape. I'm done. So he merges his branch into main, and now main has all of the features, right? They all work. The landscape and the road spline, they all work. And the only moments that a conflict might have happened, there might have been a conflict here, and there might be a conflict here if there have been any changes to main that somehow talked to the objects that were modified in like these commits or these commits. or these commits, you know, like any of these commits. So this reduces the instances at which you have to resolve conflicts to these like 2 points. At these 2 points, when you do the merge, it might be like, oh, there are merge conflicts. Please resolve them, and it'll tell you what files have merge conflicts, and then you just have to sort of manually figure it out, which is you know, a bit tricky, but we can talk about that. And then I'm working on lighting over here, but my lighting world doesn't have splines in it yet, right? All it has is it has this landscape stuff, and then it has all my lighting stuff, but I haven't pulled in any of his spline stuff. So as I work on my branch, it is very intelligent of me to periodically merge main into my branch, you know, and pull in all of the changes on the main branch. Because the way that this should works is I should be able to trust that the main branch has healthy, relatively bugless changes on it. You know what I'm saying? Like the main branch should have completed features on it. It should be like the main copy of your game. Does that make
You'd
sense?
never be dealing with unfinished things that kind of need to
Yeah.
be fixed for you to do what you want.
Yeah, it should be relatively finalized features. I mean, this is a game jam, so like bugs are
Yeah.
everywhere, but like relatively finalized features should live on the main branch. If it's not done, it should still be on a feature branch. And you know, if you are relying on someone else's feature that's in development, you merge it straight into your branch. You know, if the landscape needed, or the landscape, if the spline system needed the lighting features, you would merge it in, and then you would keep working on like on your road stuff. So, anyways, you know, maybe the lighting needs the splines. I want to see how the lighting and the roads interact. I'm like, all right, everything's working well, and eventually I also merge this back into the main branch, and the main branch continues on. Now it's got the lighting features. And this is the general flow of development. This is the general flow of development. So I hope that makes sense. The way that this like actually looks is, you know, here's source tree. There's a lot of different interfaces for this. There's GitHub Desktop. You guys might prefer that, but I strongly advise that you use source tree. It's a little bit more powerful. There's a nice button right here, branch. I can also right click on here and just do um, oh, no, yeah, it's just this button. Branch. So dev slash landscape, right? Create branch. So now I'm working on the branch titled dev slash landscape. The reason that I'm using slashes is generally Git clients respect slashes as like folders almost. So it kind of helps you organize your stuff. There's like dev branches, like, so landscape
It
lives
treats it
under.
like a directory.
It treats it like a directory, but it's really just one name. It's just dev slash
Mhm.
landscape is the name of the branch. And so, you know, in this branch, I'm now on this branch. And what I might do is I might go to landscape mode and create a landscape, and you know, add some mountains and some valleys, and great. Here's a landscape. Ooh, nice, fantastic. I hit save. I go to source tree or Unreal Engine down here. I do submit content. It takes its sweet time, and I go new landscape. It just dropped. Woo! Submit. Good stuff. And now this commit is on the landscape branch. I'm going to do push landscape. Nice. Um, yeah, cool. And now if I switch back to main, right? So if I right click on main and I check out main, uh, you'll notice that my Unreal Engine has not updated to reflect that. Kind of annoying. So you generally want to uh, there was a button for like refreshing version control. Um, um, reload. It's like reload or something. Uh, hold on. Reload assets, Unreal version control. 1 second. Source control, right clicking the asset, clicking the reload option. Reload. asset actions file. Uh, asset actions. Content hot reloading is under content settings. It's somewhere here. Somewhere here. Sync content. Uh, yeah, that might be it. Sync content. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So that's what you have to do if you don't want to reload Unreal Engine. I think you just do sync content and it sort of reloads your level to reflect the branch that you're on. Because this landscape right now is sitting in memory, but it's like
Mhm.
it's not actually there. And the engine crashed. Perfect. Okay, I'm great. Literally just restarting the engine is all I have to do, and we're good. That might have been the wrong button to click. It might not have been sync assets. It might have been
Make
hot
sure to save
reloading.
assets before you sync assets.
Yeah. Um, content hot reloading apply to be done by right-clicking the asset in the content browser and selecting reload. Yeah, that's not what we want. Okay, starter level. See, okay. So right now I'm on the main branch, and the main branch is, it doesn't have the landscape features in it yet. So that's why when I reload the engine, this is what we see. Um, yeah, Unreal Engine content hot reload. UBT will hot reload. How to use hot reloading in Unreal Engine. Yeah, it's not. I'm not really sure. Anyways, we're on the main branch right now. So let's say that let's pretend that we're working on the different things, right? Let's make the lighting. One guy's working on the landscape, the other guy is maybe working on the landscape material. So dev, I might create another branch here called landscape material. Dev/landscape material. So we get the nice little folder structure. Great branch. So now we're on dev/landscape material. And on dev landscape material, maybe I will change this material to have some more features. Maybe I'll make it lerp between a grass effect and a like stone rocky cliffs effect based on the dot product of the up vector and the vertex normal, like so. Dot this with that, clamp from 0 to 1, cheap contrast of like 10, put that in here, save and apply. Perfect. Let's flip these around like that. Nice. All right, so now there's grass anywhere that it's facing up, and it's gray on the sides. Cool. And I might push this commit. So I might go commit, stage this material, add landscape material. It's going to be the commit message, and I'm going to hit commit. I'm going to push this, push everything, I guess. Here we go. Okay, so you can see this. There's dev/landscape, dev/landscape material, and main is its own separate branch, but it's not really showing that it's like its own kind of central thing here. It's not visualizing it like that because there's no new changes on main. So now maybe I want to merge in the landscape features. So I can click on landscape here and do merge dev/landscape into current branch. Yes. And it goes, uh-oh, completed with errors. Error, unable to unlink old. So what this is saying is like, oh no, there's an old version of the level, and it's linked to memory right now. Like Unreal Engine's using it. So I have to close Unreal Engine, very annoying. I go over here, I do merge. This doesn't really happen often during real development, right? You do this like once every so often, so it's not that bad. Do merge, okay. I merged it in, So look at that. There's that pink line. It comes back into the landscape material. And I have to go to library. And where is it? Where's Git, whatever? My Unreal project Git. Now there's two new commits here. And you're like, oh, what the heck? 2 new commits? What's going on? What are these commits? Well, it's the new landscape just dropped commit and the merge commit are like now yeah, they're like they're here. So now when I open it and I go to starter level, the landscape is here, but I still have my material. So now I can apply the material to the landscape. All right, apply the material to the landscape. Great. So perfect, awesome, very cool, very aesthetic landscape material. However, when I did that, let's pretend that some dummy was on the landscape branch, right? So I'm not gonna push this just yet. Well, I will actually. I'll make another commit. Apply material to landscape. Apply material to landscape. Stage this file. Commit it. Great. Push. And now it's all there. Okay. Let's go back to the landscape branch. Right? Nothing has been merged to main, right? So here we are. We're now on the landscape branch. On the landscape branch, and let me reload Unreal Engine again. Whenever you switch branch, which again, in real life like development will be very infrequent. You'll maybe switch a branch every like 2-3 hours. So it's a small price to pay to have to reload Unreal Engine, especially when it takes about 5 seconds to open. I know that's really annoying, and it's a feature that is a consequence of using Git, which is like not at all industry standard for game development. You're not really supposed to use Git. It's what we're using because it's a short game jam. Yeah, and Perforce has like a free limit of like 3 users or 5 users, and I don't like that. Okay, now we're on now we're here. We're on the landscape branch, and the landscape branch oh uh oh oh hold on hold on let's say on the landscape branch we make what the hell? Hold on. Add green material and default level. New landscape just dropped. That's where we are. We're not on yeah, merge the landscape. Uncommitted changes. Yeah, okay. This file right here, I'm gonna discard this. I don't know why that transferred over. Oh my god, screw you. I'm gonna have to X this out. So basically, this file isn't on this branch yet, and as a result, it was being handled as a delta. Let me reload Unreal. So if you weren't on my computer right now, the landscape material should still be just green. It shouldn't be green and gray. Like that gray feature wasn't on this branch yet, but because we're still on my computer, we're not like actually multiple developers working on this project at the same time. This material was like the file was still around. It hadn't updated the file. So now that we updated, we're back on the original version of the file. Let's say we're the guy on the landscape branch now. So there was another guy that was working on the landscape material branch, and we're on the landscape branch, and we decide to do things our own separate way. We're like, oh, we know how to make a landscape material way better than this. We're going to go over here. We're going to do use material attributes, and we're going to do landscape layer blend like this, and we're going to create some landscape layers. In here, we're going to go like, new landscape layer called grass, and it's going to be a weight blend, and then this is going to be a dot product of the lerp, and we really like Martian terrain, so we're going to do the same stuff with the up vector and the vertex normals, except this time the colors that we're going to be switching between are going to be Martian, like cliffs, which is just like kind of bright orange color maybe, uh, and some sort of like darker like cliff face effect, like so. And right, sorry, make material attributes. Make material attributes like so. Nice. There we go. Save and apply. And this is what? This is a weight blend, preview weight 1. Nice. Okay. And oh yeah, one more thing. Cheap contrast. Can we flip these around like this? That improve that? No, does not. Let's do clamp 0 to 1, 1 minus like that. Cheap contrast like that with a value of 10. Looked pretty good previously, so I'm just going to reuse that, plug that in, save. Nice, there we go. Relatively cool Martian material. And I'm going to apply this to the terrain. Let me go in here, landscape material, bam, put that on. Oh, why is it doing this?
Huh.
Oh boy. It's probably doing that because let's go to landscape mode, landscape, go to paint. There's the material, create a new weight blended layer, save. There we go. All right, landscape. Nice. Oh, Martian, very cool. All right, save this, and now I'm gonna commit this. I'm gonna go, I'm done. You know, I was working on the landscape. I forgot, I screwed up. I didn't tell my teammates that I was also gonna work on the landscape material. And it just so happens that I have tweaked the very same material that my buddy tweaked on his branch. On his branch, he made it grassy and gray. On my branch, I've made it all Martian. So we're gonna have a conflict. That's what I'm trying to create here. So I'm gonna go ahead and click revision control, connect to revision control. I guess we got disconnected somehow. Git, whatever, accept, great, revision control, submit content. Again, I could do this from source tree directly. It's the same thing. Source tree sees it down here. Unreal Engine sees it. Oh, I guess it didn't give me the prompt. I'll just do it from here. Stage all, commit, and I'm going to say create Mars material and apply it to landscape. And I don't tell anyone, so kind of a not a great developer here. And what I do now is I go on GitHub. Right, this is best practice. What we're about to do is we're gonna merge into the main branch. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you merge into the main branch, just in here, you just go, let me check out main. Close Unreal Engine first. I check out main, right? And then I right click the landscape and I do merge dev landscape into my branch. This is not good practice. Instead, you want to do things through a pull request. So you're essentially telling your teammates, you're saying, I want to request that I can merge. And this creates like a very visible, moment. It says, hey, I'm making a formal request. I think I should be allowed to merge this in. So here's dev landscape. I'm going to do compare and pull request. Git looks at main. It looks at dev landscape and it goes, yep, there's no conflicts. We're able to merge. And I should write some message in here. I should be like, I made the landscape, guys, and it has an epic Martian surprise. Lol, get merged, conflicted nerds, and create PR. And here's the commits. New landscape just dropped, and create Mars material and apply it to landscape. And we can see the files that have changed across all of these. Unfortunately, the files are binary, so we can't really investigate them. You can just be like, yep, okay, there's some changes. And optimally at this point, you'd be like, hey, teammates, just so you know I'm doing this. Maybe they take a quick look at it. They could clone the branch and be like, oh yeah, everything looks good here, nice Martian landscape. And they go, looks good to me. And they comment, and then they merge the pull request. And you click merge, pull request merged and closed. Also click delete branch. And what this has done is it deletes the landscape branch, but trust me, that's not a bad thing because the history of the branch is preserved inside of main. So it has now been merged to main. I think there's a way to visualize this in here, branches. Is there a, I know there's like a nice way to visualize the branches. Overview, man, code, 6 commits. Yeah, view all branches. I know there's like a nice little cute way to visualize it all, but anyways, okay, so okay, 2 branches, whatever. All right. So the main branch has now, if I go over here and I do fetch, what this is going to do is it's going to like update what's going on. So look at this. Look at this nice little visualization here. See sort of what's going on. This is the main branch on the left, right? Here's the landscape branch. So we created the landscape, and then our buddy started working on the landscape material. They merged the landscape in, and then they added the material to the landscape. Meanwhile, landscape guy made another material, added it to the landscape himself, and then he merged into main. So main now has the Martian landscape on it. And now green guy is gonna go like, oh, you know what? I'm done with my landscape. I'm gonna merge it into main. So green guy goes on, you know, here I'm on main right now, so let me just do pull. And now main, I'm on main, and now main has all the updates from landscape. Landscape no longer exists, so if I go to remote, see there's only landscape material here. Landscape no longer exists, so I can delete this is the local version, right? Everything under branches is the local copy. Everything under remote is the like remote copy that lives on Git. So we can see landscape doesn't exist anymore, so I can just right click on it and click delete over here. Don't worry, we haven't lost anything. And then now, let's go back to pretending we're the other guy, right? We're Mr. We're Mr. OG Green Landscape. So I accidentally closed the Git tab. Here it is. Go back to code, and here's landscape material. So I do compare and pull request. Oh no, can't automatically merge. Don't worry, you can still create the pull request. So like, hello everyone. I'm really enjoying developing the landscape of our earthly and wholly not Martian golfing simulator. And create the pull request, and it goes, can we merge? No, there's conflicts. My floor material.u asset and starter level.umap, which sucks. Now there are conflicts. So how do we resolve conflicts? Well, in order to resolve the conflicts, we have to go on the conflicted branch. So we go on landscape material, and we attempt to merge main into the current branch. Now we have merge conflicts, but the merge conflicts, they're not like, it's not just some error message. The merge conflicts are like, they actually live on our computer. They're like objects that we can see in Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine provides a way to resolve them. So now we have merged main into our branch, right? There's like a line that went from main into the branch that we're currently on. Main is still blue over here. We're now in the green branch, so we pulled the blue main into our green. It's funny, green is the appropriate color here because it's like the earthly looking branch. So if I open up the project, I'm opening up the project with Unreal. So right here, I just double clicked it. It's opening up, and right now I'm on the landscape material branch, right? I right clicked it and I did checkout, which means that that's the copy that is living on my computer. Here's Unreal. Gonna open up the starter level. Look at these little things down here. This content, the contents of this item conflict with updates received from the repository. So these two are merge conflicted. So if I right click on this guy, revision control, diff against depot, I think. There's a, I'm trying to remember how we do merge conflict resolution. Well, let's look at the material first of all. Revision control. Can I open this? There's a like merge conflict resolution thing. I'm trying to remember how you do it. You would think it would be under revision control. Opens the blueprint editor with the merge tool open. Displays the history. Okay, here's the history. Hmm. 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 Um. Well. Okay. I think we might need to resolve the merges in here. So my floor material.u asset and starter level.u map. These are the files. This file right here, the grass layer info, doesn't have a merge conflict. That's why it has a little plus on it. It's just been staged. It's a new file. That's why it has the plus, and it's fine. These are orange. This is what's staged right now. But it has conflicts. So if I click the plus here, I think what this is saying is it's saying uh override override the local files with the ones that came in from main. Unreal Engine provides a merge resolution tool. Hold on, yeah, revision control, refresh. Yeah, see now it's saying that these no longer have conflicts. Yeah, it okay, never mind. It overrode them with the local copy. I'm going to close Unreal Engine and I'm going to uh, pull this branch. You have not concluded your merge. Please commit your changes before merging. Yeah, I'm gonna reset all to abandon local changes. There we go. Okay, so we're back where we were essentially like 2 seconds ago when we attempted to merge. Um, let's merge main into current branch. Yes, I have merge conflicts. Actually, hold on. Let me not do that. Let me discard, reset everything. So we're stopping the merge process, and then I'm going to attempt the merge from inside of Unreal Engine, and I think it'll pull up the conflict resolution in there because Unreal Engine knows how to navigate its own binary files, right? So the material graph, like those nodes, it knows how to navigate them, and it'll give us a nice little visualization to compare left to right. Be like, this is how it was, this is how it is. So it helps us with the merge resolution. Oh, it seems I have Perforce installed, and I think it's Perforce is actually trying to help me with the merge resolution. That's so funny. I'm going to uh, not allow that to happen. Let me close this. It's on my other monitor. Don't worry about that. Gonna click revision control right here. I'm gonna do diff against depot. Ah, here we go. So this is because I have Perforce installed. But it should be. I wanted to open up the Unreal Engine merge tool. This is the entire material script right here. So this is like describing the position of all the different nodes and what they're doing. But that's not what I want. I want to open it up in the Unreal merge resolution tool. Unreal merge resolution tool. Um, yeah, how do we use the blueprint merge tool? Um, uh, man, oh, give me 1 second. Merging actors in Unreal Engine. No, that's not what I want. Unreal merge revision control. Merging changes, Unreal Engine revision control best practices, Epic Games. When opening a project, sync latest before making changes. Teammates know which file to recognize alerts that indicate collectively agree which team member has priority. Okay, so file, or excuse me, tool, merge actors, merge method, merge. Oh, excuse me, that's not quite what we want to do. Tools, uh, sync content. Okay, all right. It's crashing again, isn't it? No, it's just okay. It's reloading all of the. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, it crashed. Oh, Unreal Engine, no. No, you're making me look bad. Okay, oh, oh god, killing me. Um I suppose what we want to do here is we want a clear way to decide what version we want to keep. The point here is Unreal Engine should help you resolve some merges. Okay, here's the. Oh, okay, so now it looks like that sync step uh merged things in, and it looked at the landscape and it said, okay, the latest version of the landscape has the material applied, but the material is conflicts. So revision control. Um, guess do we do save? Does that just fix things? Do we do tools? Um, view changes. Nope. 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 That's not quite what we want. I want to look at let's see, what does it say? The contents of this item conflicts with updates received from the repository. The contents of this item conflicts with updates received from the repository UE5. Okay, here we go. Git checkout using GitHub pull request. Comparing changes. Open a pull request. Using perforce. Depot merge test. Blah 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 blah. Okay, all right. Well, I'm not exactly sure how we do this. If I do diff against depot, it opens up the perforce editor, and I suppose it's good to have perforce installed. I think you can use this helix merge tool completely for free. You don't need some like magical license on perforce or something. It just lets you use it, and I should just be able to be like I should be able to decide what to keep. Uh, this green thing over here is the um. Let's see which is which. I'm not sure which is which. I suppose this is probably consistent between. Yeah, so it's just it has deconstructed this file into text instead of the binary file. It respects the encoding, but yeah. File comparison method, um, character encodings, new merge or diff, merge, choose files to merge. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. None of that, please. Please. Alright. Yeah, I'm just going to do things inside a source tree. So, right here I can do resolve conflicts, right? You can do resolve using mine, resolve using theirs. Do we want the local branch or do we want the branch that we merged in? So in this case, I'm going to go like, oh no, I've merged uh uh the oh, we're on a detached head. Oh god, hold on. Let me just do reset, close Unreal Engine, because whatever I did in Unreal Engine clearly broke things. I'm going to check out main. Uh yes. Okay. I'm going to check out landscape material. I'm going to merge main into the landscape material. Uh, don't worry about the thing that just came up. That was just Unreal Engine created that. So we're on landscape material, and I'm going to do merge main into current branch. Now we have the merge conflicts. It tells us what merge conflicts we have. The floor material, I can do resolve conflicts, and we can either keep mine. So maybe I like the grass material more, so I'm going to keep mine. But I'm going to uh, resolve using theirs. So this is like, okay, let's instead of we can keep their version of the level. We can also launch external merge tool, which I imagine is going to. Oh, I don't know what that just did. I think this is opening up Perforce in the background. So, but I don't see it coming up right now. I'm gonna just discard these guys. Remove, I guess. Yeah, it's trying to resolve it using some external tools. So I guess that probably is launching Perforce, but I don't see it coming up. Whatever. I'm going to right click here and do resolve using theirs. So we're going to keep the remote version, and I can now commit this. It'll now let me commit it, so I can go. And it automatically generates this little merge thing. So it says, here's the two files that were conflicting, and they were merged. Commit, push, push, and now the pull request on GitHub is going to be like, yep, you merged main into the branch. So now merging the branch back into main, there's going to be no differences. So this is pretty much a done deal. So merge the pull request, confirm merge, delete branch. So we've deleted the landscape material branch. So again, what we just did is, right, we had I'll show you on the source tree visualization. Let's go to main. All right, zoom in over here. So we have the main branch, and this Mars guy over here, uh, uh, excuse me, create a Mars material. Hold on, what is this? We're on main is the, yo, what the hell? Hold on, hold on. Which one of these is main? Main is the, what am I on? I'm on um uh uh main. Okay, main is the pink guy? What? Fetch. I haven't fetched. Excuse me. There we go. There we go. Okay, pull. There we go. I was like, what am I looking at? Okay, okay. Excuse me, guys. So here's the current state of everything. Here's main. Main is the blue guy over here. Let me make this significantly smaller so that we can actually like draw here and appreciate what's going on. So we made the Unreal Engine project. One guy went and made the landscape, and then on the landscape, another guy went and made a landscape material, and he made it grassy, and he also he made a grassy material, and then he pulled in the actual landscape like shape from the Mars guy. So then we had the landscape shape and the grassy material. He put the grassy material on the landscape, and then he did nothing. Meanwhile, Mars guy made a Mars material and put it on the landscape and merged into main. So now main has a landscape with a Mars material applied, but this guy has that same material as grassy. And this guy tried to make a pull request, but Git said you can't merge. There's merge conflicts. So to resolve them, he merges main into his branch so that he can see the merge conflicts locally, and we did some work on them. We in source tree we said resolve the grass material using mine. So keep the grass, keep grass, but keep their version of the landscape. So I guess whatever changes that the landscape guy was actually supposed to do, keep them. And then it said, okay, there's no more merge conflicts. You can now merge into main. So now main has that branch as well. Great. So now in source tree, I can check out, I'm on main. In fact, I can delete this guy. It doesn't really matter anymore because he's part of the history of main. And in Unreal Engine, if I open up the project, don't be confused by the thumbnail showing the orange, like kind of sand dunes or whatever. They should be green now. But since we kept the other guy's version of the landscape, his version of the landscape might have like the wrong material applied to it. So let's see. Here we kept the grass. Yep, and there we go. The landscape has the grass. But any additional changes that he had made to the landscape, like if he had added another mountain or something, they would have been kept because we did keep theirs, not keep mine. So we are good. Okay. Does that make some sense? Are we good? Is everyone okay? How are we doing?
Doing great, dude.
Doing great. Does this make some sense? Are we like has this
Yeah.
been okay? Good. Basically, if you're gonna do a game jam, it's good to have one person on your team that knows what they're doing with Git, and then as long as everyone else listens,
And reference them. Yeah.
yeah, and everyone else just work on a branch. That's the most important takeaway here. Do not work on the main branch, because if you work on the main branch, we would have had like 5 different instances where we would have had to go through this whole process of like merge main into my branch. Oh, I have merge conflicts. Keep theirs, keep mine. You would constantly be overwriting each other's work and losing it. Instead, work on branches. Stick to the features that you say you're going to implement within your branch, and communicate often what you're working on and what files you're touching. And if there's a merge conflict, talk to the person with whom your files are merging. So if, one guy was supposed to make the landscape material and one guy made the landscape and there's a merge conflict on the landscape, ask landscape material guy, hey, did you do anything significant to the landscape, or can I overwrite your changes? Because you don't have a choice. Someone's work is getting overridden. When there's a merge conflict in Unreal Engine, because everything is a binary, someone's work is getting overridden. There's not a clean way to merge things. The Unreal Engine merge tools are kind of mid, and Unreal Engine relies on Perforce to help it with that, but we are not using Perforce, and that's kind of the unfortunate situation. So you have to communicate. Try not to modify files that you're not supposed to touch. If you're working on the landscape material, don't go adding lamp posts to the environment just to see what they look like, because like if you do, just pay attention in source tree, because every time that you make a commit, right? Every time that you click this commit button, you can see what files you are committing. So if you're committing the landscape file, but all you thought that you touched was the landscape material, right-click the landscape file and do discard. And what that'll ensure is that you're not pushing any changes related to the landscape. You're only pushing the changes relating to the landscape material that you were working on. Like, only push the files that you are truly working on. Be aware and be diligent about that. Yeah, that's version control in Unreal Engine. Just, it's really good to have someone on your team that knows what they're doing. If you don't, you'll run into issues. But I really hope that this has been like a decent introduction into what the workflow should be like. And just all of this closing and reopening Unreal tomfoolery is really annoying. And it won't happen that frequently. Like, realistically, you're going to spend 2 hours setting up the lighting and getting everything to look really nice. And only then are you going to go through the whole make a PR, oh, there's merge conflicts, merge main into my branch, close the PR. Like, that's when that process will happen. And in that process, you might have to reopen Unreal Engine once or twice. If you switch branch, close Unreal first, then check out the other branch, then reopen Unreal. But yeah, other than that, like, easy stuff. I really recommend Source Tree. This is Source Tree. It's a very nice Git GUI. It's made by Atlassian, which lately has taken a bit of a nosedive as a company, but they're still pretty cool. And this program is one of their best. So use it. It's totally free. Very nice little front end. Um, but yeah. Uh, One thing that I regret is we couldn't, like, the level was treated as a binary, and Unreal Engine 5 isn't supposed to treat levels as binaries. It's supposed to treat them as like big folder structures. Uh, um, uh, let me look into that real quick and see if that's like a checkbox that we have to enable. Um, uh, Unreal levels version control. Source control level snapshot using perforce. Yeah, there's some nice documentation on this, right? So if you do want to learn how to use perforce, it explains how to set everything up. It's a bit of a process, but once you get it set up, you can do things all professionally. But if everyone on your team isn't familiar with perforce, it's probably not worth it. It's worth it if you're doing some really big project, but Git it's enough. It's enough for a smaller project. Um, UE5 world partition is, I think, what we're interested in. World partition, one file per actor. That's what we care about. The one file per actor feature is only available in the editor. All actors are embedded in their respective level files when cooked. From the main menu, editor preferences, experimental. Right. Okay. Edit, editor preferences, one file, or all settings. One file. Oh god, what's it called? Locate the tools section. Tools. Can anyone read better than I can? Tools. Do we see it? Somewhere near tools. Oh god. Locate the tools section. So the editor preferences.
Yeah.
From the sidebar, select experimental. Excuse me. Experimental. Advanced. You would think experimental would be under advanced.
Yeah, it sounds pretty advanced.
Does. Experimental.
Oh, there it is.
Tools. Yeah, I was gonna say this doesn't. I don't think this is experimental anymore. Uh,
Hmm.
Translation picker, facial experimental. User interface, blueprints, cooking, levels, packaged level actor allows creating a packaged level actor. No level instance. Enabling one file per actor. The first method. Enable it individually. World settings. Oh, wait. Okay, it might not even be in here. World settings. Say. Navigate to the world section of the panel and enable the checkbox use external actors. Use external actors. Yes. You will be asked if you want to convert all actors to external packaging. Select yes to complete the conversion to one file per actor. Okay. Control S. Boom. Okay, so what this is doing is now, if you edit the landscape, right? Someone goes over here and they go, "Ooh, let me, add some nice little mountains to the landscape." Oh, okay, cool. And while you edit the landscape, I go over here and I move around. I add a couple of things. I add some lights. We're in the like world building phase of our landscape, and one of us is adding like street lights, and the other guy's adding roads. And we're like towards the end of the game jam. All of our assets are in there. We're just putting together some platformer levels. Well, these are all going to be individual parts of some file structure. So now if we go to source tree, you can see, and this is bad practice because we're not on a branch, but look at that. There's a file for each actor that is placed in the level so that these can be diffed independently of each other. You touch one lamp, I touch another lamp, no more issues. Previously, it was all packed into one file, the level file, which was stored as a binary. which means if you touch a light and I touch a landscape, someone's getting their work deleted. No longer is this the case.
Wow.
Yeah. So okay, that's right here. Use external actors. That's it right there. I'm sorry that took me a second. I had to look up the documentation, but right, it's looking up documentation is part of the experience, giving you that authentic game dev
Mm-hmm.
experience. So
Tutorial mid gem.
yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that concludes our that concludes the version control spiel. There's not much more to it than that. Just branches. Just please stay on your own branch and use pull requests and keep your team informed about what you're touching, and also hit this checkbox when you start a new project. um, that's it. That's all it takes. Um, I'm gonna push this commit and I'm gonna call it uh, convert level to one file per actor. Since this is something that like it's not really its own feature, I'm putting it on the main branch like that. But this is a feature that would touch everyone else's code. So if someone was like working on the level before I check that box, like their stuff would have to be overridden, right? So you want to tell everyone when you change some significant setting that suddenly touches a bunch of files, tell everyone, get everyone's work merged into the main branch first so that no
Mm.
one's stuff gets lost. And because otherwise you're going to be doing a lot of extra work downstream to get that person's hard work into your project when it's been like overridden at some point earlier in the process. So
Mm-hmm. So is this like you'd have to check use external actors every time, or is
no,
it?
just once. I think this is per level file. So if we made another level
Gotcha.
file, we went into it. Yeah, it's per level file.
Gotcha.
So every time that you make a new level file, just do that. If you have like an open world level, that's like where your entire game takes place, you'd only do this once.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're actually loading multiple levels, like some sort of Mario like
Just make
platformer,
sure everybody's doing that
just yeah, exactly.
beforehand.
Well, if everyone, I mean, hold on, consider this workflow. Maybe your levels are simple enough to where you're towards the end of the jam and you've produced all of the key components, right? The Mario
Mm.
character blueprint is done, the midpoint flag, the coins, the destructible cubes, it's all there. So you decide, okay, guys, we've got 5 hours left in the jam. Everyone make 3 levels. And as long as everyone just works on their own level files, you're not going to have any issues. There won't be any merge
Yeah.
conflicts. But but be cautious.
Mhm.
Be cautious.
Don't name them all the same thing.
Oh yeah. You might want
Something
to.
useless.
One common thing that you can do is you can create like a folder and you can name it Michael's shit. New
Yeah,
folder
sounds good.
slash yeah, new folder
Slash MS.
Michael stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
then do Michael things in there, and and uh, periodically merge with main, but maybe towards the end of the project, like instead of having a folder named Michael stuff just sitting in the root directory, maybe dev folders, and inside of dev
Mhm.
folders, oh, let's move dev folders up to content, and then Michael stuff inside of dev folders. So there would be a Michael folder, there would be a Trevor folder, and in here you might make your own level. You might make your own like
Mhm.
Trevor's testing world. And in here, like, do whatever the hell you want because no one's touching this. Like, no one, people should know this is your folder. Like, no one's gonna touch stuff in this level, so you can feel confident messing around in here with stuff. That's a common thing that I would do in old game jams. Make
Mhm.
multiple folders to keep your work organized into. But yeah, yeah, um, yeah.
Sounds like it's about it.
That's it. That is about it. I'm gonna end this recording. Thank God, not many drop frames on this one. I think this was probably the most important one by far,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't dilly dally too much looking up stuff in documentation. I was a little nervous there for a second. All right,